Hello there. There's a guy outside blowing the leaves around, so if you can hear that machine, I'm sorry about it. I don't know why this happens. We're like, it just as soon as I'm going to do something, something gets in my way. Like, why does that happen in life? I don't know. My son's doing his GCSEs at the moment, and he's like having to study biology and chemistry and stuff, and the best way for him to like put the knowledge in his head is by teaching it to somebody else. So then he's like teaching it to me, and it's just like fascinating and also kind of disturbing just how like things work in the body. Things are actually quite violent in the body, and if there's an anti something that comes in and the cell doesn't recognize it, it becomes very violent towards it and making sure that it gets rid of it. And so then actually the way that we condemn violence in the world is technically a bit weird, because by nature our cells are violent anyway. So then if we are violent, shouldn't that be like understood? Because we're just doing what it is that we're born to do, which is if we don't agree with something and if we don't like something, we become violent towards it. And I don't know, anyways, obviously that all needs to change. We need to like upgrade the whole entire system. So hopefully if I upgrade my brain in that respect, then hopefully my cells will also upgrade. Anyways, so many things are angering, like, why I'm just going to start recording and now you want to do your leaves, why? And obviously I think somebody who's angry listening to me say that, they'll be like, Nayna, that's nothing to do with you. Yeah, you're not the center of the attention. That just happened to have happened at the same time, and it's nothing to do with you. And then that makes me feel better actually, because then it's not like an attack on me, which we're talking about today actually, which is how to deal with hate or anger from others. I'm being called to talk about it, and that's why I'm going to talk about it. There's no other reason. I just want to talk about it, but there is a little bit of a story time, so let's get into it. Well, somebody commented on my video actually, and I need to be careful with like, because he said like, and I know that we're all just angry out here in the world, so technically I don't need to listen to this comment, but I also do want to listen to this comment. I actually, can you hear that? Because I can hear it and my brain is like having a problem with it. My brain is not deleting its existence, it's actually just concentrating on its existence. Anyway, the guy said it's very counterproductive that I start a video by saying how much I hate men when I'm trying to like help men. And I was like, what are you on about? When did I say I hate men? And then I realized that I talked too quickly and he misunderstood the sentence. But it got me really thinking about like what do people expect from videos, and am I supposed to know that? And I don't know that, because I'm just like getting on with my talking and I'm not really considering what it is that people need in terms of like sequence and in terms of how the delivery works. So then I don't know, and am I supposed to like know stuff like that? Where it's like, no Nayna, you're not allowed to go on a rant before you go on a, which that makes sense actually. I'll never, obviously why am I going to go on a rant if I'm trying to like inspire you? That's actually, yes. But at the same time, like when somebody says, oh, you're so counterproductive, that is also counterproductive, because even though it wasn't counterproductive, because it got me thinking. So I don't know, it's all just a bit confusing. But you know what's not confusing is science and the ability of my body to exist and to function. That is not confusing. It knows exactly what it's doing to the minute little thing, which is actually crazy. All of it is just a bit crazy. And so then because that guy outside, he's like blowing the leaves while I'm trying to like record, my existence wants to go and attack him because he is doing something that he shouldn't be doing in my books, and in my opinion he shouldn't be doing that because he's getting in my way. So then my natural reaction, which would be what the cells would also do, is to go and kill him and get rid of him. But obviously the government has made it illegal to do such things, and it would probably be a waste of a life if I do that. But that's my instinct, is to want to go and get rid of him because he's in my way. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be doing a story time right now. So I used to like, I've been a loner for a very long time. I always say that in all of my videos. And I had one friend, and actually then I had another friend, and then I had the NAS guy, and then I actually did have other friends. But I had one friend who was the only person I actually spoke to, that I bared my heart to and actually took her advice and stuff. She's no longer my friend, I no longer speak to her, but we were best friends since school days. Anyway, she always used to say to me that like because I used to ask her like, oh, this person said this to me, and said that to me, and it's like, I don't understand why they did that. And she'll always be the one translating things for me, and I don't know if it's because of my autistic thing, don't know how to interpret things properly, and she was like my interpreter. And obviously now, because she's no longer in my life, I kind of feel lost a little bit, because it's like I don't understand things and she's not here to interpret them. So she will always interpret all of this hate that apparently I had around me all the time, that oh, that person's just jealous, oh, that's jealousy, Nayna, or oh, that person doesn't like you, or oh, that's a bit unfair. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I think you're right. I was just obviously good at expressing how sad I felt, or how something would be really bothering me, but I wouldn't understand why, because I'll think it was my fault. Like obviously I'm too sensitive, or I'm making up stories, or there's something wrong with me and that's why I'm having a hard time in the world. And then she'll kind of translate it and go through it with me and kind of come with a different conclusion than it being my fault. Anyways, and then because I started like experiencing so much anger towards the world, which was what I was saying in my last video when it sounded like I said I hate men, is that I was beginning to just be so angry at everything and everybody, and even now with the guy outside with the leaves, like I'm just so irrationally angry at him for doing something that he has no clue that he's doing. I don't know if he knows what he's doing. It just makes me so angry. Anyways, so then I start, because I'm feeling all this anger, I could see it so clearly in other people. And I could see like, and sometimes it's so irrational. Like we are walking down the street and somebody stops in front of us, especially in London, we all have this anger where somebody just stops in front of us and they are so inconsiderate in my brain, and they are so irritating, and I just want to end their life for stopping in front of me and getting in my way, because it's like, you're so stupid, why are you just stopping in front of me? So all of this anger. But then when I watch somebody else do it, I'm just like, you are so irrational, because that person had nothing to do with your existence. They didn't stop to piss you off, they didn't stop to get in your way. They literally had a moment where they stopped and it somehow got in your way. And I know that like there's this word called considerate, but the brain is not possible to be considerate in all these ways. And yes, you can learn, especially living in London, you definitely learn how to be considerate of pace and how fast you walk, or how to not get in people's way. So but there are still times where I still get in people's way by accident. Even though I've got all this training living in London, I still get in people's way by accident. And to see somebody else like get so angry at these like accidental things is so irrational. And so then I really understand anger, and then when you direct it at somebody, it's just like highly inappropriate. Anyways, and I just want to I want to talk about all of this, because like the world is just going through it, so it feels like this anyway, maybe because I live in London, it feels like it's just like heightened to like 500% more than what it has ever been, where there's just anger everywhere, there's hate everywhere. And maybe I'm just like on social media too much, which I'm not, because all I do is ever read, but when I do go on there, I see things, and when I go outside, I see things. So let's go on with the conversation. I would love nothing more than just to go on about existence right now, because everything my son's been teaching me for the past few days about science has just got me thinking so deep, and I'm just kind of losing like hope a little bit. Or the guy that commented on my video where he was like so irrationally incorrect and so like detached from my existence, yet he came flooding into my existence with all his opinion, and it had no relationship to me, and the only relationship it left was the fact that I don't know if I should sequence things correctly and think about them before I go on a rant when it's supposed to be a positive topic, and then I start going on a rant. Like, is that me trying to like control my character when I should not be controlling my character? Like, I don't know, I'm so confused. I think it's really the reason why we are experiencing so much anger in the world, and that's the interesting thing as well, because maybe that's why the universe put this man as soon as I'm supposed to be talking about anger, and here he is igniting my anger, is that it's very contagious. I think anger is very contagious, because I could just like ignore him, which obviously my brain can't, but if I could, I ignore him, and then you as the viewer would not be impacted whatsoever. But because I am impacted, now I'm impacting you, and then now you're either getting irritated at me for being so affected by him, or you're getting irritated at him for having such a big part of the video when you don't want him to have a big part. You just want me to just talk, and here he is like keep interrupting me, and I'm making it a part of your experience as well as part of mine, because I'm I don't know, do I not have enough knowledge to not spread around anger? But do you know what I am learning though? Is I'm learning how to express anger without, and I am learning because I have to with my son, because I'm realizing how like I impact him negatively and I don't want to, but I am learning how I can like express myself and not make it contagious, not make you fall with me, and I am learning to do that. And I think I'm doing that by removing that anger when I'm explaining how I'm feeling. And then once I've explained it, I don't go on and on and on about it. I've explained it, I've told you how I felt, it's off my chest, now let's talk about something else instead of festering and getting on and on and on. And I think that that's when it becomes unhealthy. But if I arrive and I'm like, this guy outside is very, very irritating, he did this and that, this and that, this and that, and it's actually very, very, very irritating. Anyways, how are you? So then I've told you without anger, like that guy outside was so annoying. I told you in a lighter way, and then how are you? I'm moving on with the subject. You know, so maybe we can express ourselves in a healthy way where we're not bringing other people down with our anger. Anyways, having said all of that, why is it all happening? Why do we hate on people? And it's so funny, I was talking to my son again, and I was saying that there's this woman that pops up on my feed, like, because I'm into reading and Instagram has picked up the fact that I'm into reading, so it's giving me all these book Instagram people who like rate books and stuff. Anyways, and she always comes up on my feed, and she was like, I read 12 books in September, and I was just so irritated at her. And then I was saying to my son, like she was so irritating, and she read 12 books in September, and I was just telling my son how I felt, and I used the word. And then he was like, Mummy, that's jealousy. What? I was like, jealousy? And I had to stop there for a second. Like, am I jealous of her? The fact that, like, yes, I wish that I could read 12 books in 1 month. But because for me, jealousy is when I want something. I don't know, like, I feel like jealousy is different than what I was feeling towards her, because towards her it was like, oh, you're so full of yourself that, oh, I've read 12 books, let me pretend that that's not a big deal because like everybody can read 12 books. No, they can't, love, and you're irritating for having this energy about you. Yeah, I read 12 books, like, you're so big-headed, like, get over yourself. And it was just this irritation, and I didn't see that as jealousy, I saw it as irritation. But my son, because he was just like, well, you shouldn't talk like that, and I'm like, no, you're right, I shouldn't. Why am I talking like that? Anyways, and I think it's just so easy to have these feelings, and it's so interesting because like maybe she does want to boast, because maybe that's the only thing she can boast about, and because I want to be able to read 12 books in a month, she boasted to, I don't know, like it's almost like she boasted to the wrong person. So then if you boast to the wrong person about something you're proud of, and let's be fair towards her, maybe she doesn't have other things that she can be proud of, and then so then she does want to put it in people's faces. Look what I can do, I can read 12 books, but let me not tell you that I'm proud of myself. Let me just make it as if this is normal, because I don't want to like make it obvious that I am bigging myself up here, but look what I can do. And maybe like this fakeness of like not being honest about what it is that you're doing. Like, just be honest, you're boasting about your abilities, okay, but I also do that too, where like I would say, specifically with my son, I always want to boast about how clever he is, or the relationship that we have is so great, and how like, oh, I look like a young mum, and it might embarrass him a little bit, but really I'm kind of saying, look how young I am, look, I'm not that young, but I look young. And it's like trying to make myself feel better by boasting about myself, yet I'm not being honest about what it is that I'm doing, and then I'm just like trying to boast like by secret. And maybe I feel like this behavior ignites anger in other people. So I just feel like that there's like this immaturity that which always goes back to what we've been talking about all along, of there's no education here, like there's nobody teaching you about like the correct way to boast, the correct way to receive somebody's boasting, or somebody wants to highlight their gifts, like how do you accept it, like how do you celebrate somebody else's gifts at how great they are at something without being angered by it. Let's talk about these things in a classroom repetitively, the way we do with maths and science, so then we could get it into our heads that how to celebrate other people's gifts, or how to celebrate your own gifts without pissing people off. So I feel like this immaturity, which is lack of education and lack of understanding of what's going on here, is what creates hate and what creates anger. I don't hate her for being able to read 12 books, I'm just irritated at her for the way she boasted about it. and then it created anger. And I would never comment such things on the post. I would never be like, oh, look at me, I can read 12 books. The way that I see like so many people comment their thoughts like everywhere, and I would never do such things as that. But is it because I had an education to do that? I had an education from my mum that wasn't confrontational whatsoever. So the confrontation I have built up was self-taught completely. So I was brought up by somebody who is not confrontational. She puts everything under the rug, unless obviously it angers her, then she doesn't. But if it doesn't anger her, everything is under the carpet, nothing is spoken about. So that's how I was brought up to be. So maybe that's why I don't go around commenting on people's things and telling them how much I hate them or telling them how much they anger me. Anyways, let's go to the extreme of hate, when somebody says that you are ugly, or that you're not good at something. That's the same as being that you're not good enough. Like, let's go into the deep end of hate, where somebody hates on you, the way that celebrities get all of the time. And because I'm not a celebrity, I only know people who are like kind of like close to me, and none of them have the courage to hate on me to my face. They will only hate on me through energy or through like their eyes. And then I'm just get confused, like, why is your eyes like that? So then I did have that around all of the time. But anyways, let's talk about if it's true. Is it true? Like, if somebody says, oh, you're so ugly, is it true? Are you ugly? Do we go around telling people false narratives when we are angry? I mean, I've done that before, where like I'm so angry, I want to hurt somebody, and the only hurt that I can cause is by putting information in their brain. And that's the only hurt that I can cause. And I know that if I say something, even though it's true or not true, I know that I'm going to hurt them. So yes, I have put false narrative in somebody's brain because I want to hurt them. Yes, I've done that. That's called toxic behavior. Yes, I have done that. I haven't done that in a very long time, because like I keep saying, I'm alone all the time. I don't have boyfriends, I don't have friends, I don't have anybody, and I would never dare to do that to my son or to my dog. I think that we can do that. I also feel like we have pent up anger where we don't express ourselves properly and we don't have the courage to say something, and then we get to a place where we explode with anger, and then all of a sudden we have the courage to say all of the things that we really think about them. So then I do think that both of those things can be true, where you put false narrative and you say hateful things but they're false, or you say hateful things that you really do think are true, and then you finally get them all off your chest and you attack the person with the narrative, but you do believe it. And so then, as the receiver of either one, could it be true? Is it true? Somebody's called me ugly. Is it true? Am I ugly? So again, I think it comes back to education and how we can, I hate that word. Is there another word that I could use? We want to be taught what's important in life, right? So is it important that I accept somebody's truth when it's negative and it hurts my feelings? So regardless if it's true or not, regardless if I'm ugly or not ugly, what is best for me? And then also, what are the facts of life? Because the facts of life is that person might find me ugly, another person might not find me ugly. So do I have to accept those either one as truth, or is there something else that can be happening here? And I feel like we're trying to teach this in spirituality at the moment, but I don't think we're doing a good job at it, where we're influencing people to build their own narratives in their head and then make that the priority over everybody else's narrative. And actually, like with changing the world, the more we speak about it, the more it's going to make sense, and then we can build a blueprint of what it is that we're trying to achieve here in life, right? Which is that we only want to be influenced by ideas that make us great and positive feedback that makes us great. So then if you have negative feedback and you're trying to make me great through negative feedback, then we have to maneuver and change that, so then you can give me feedback without it being a negative impact. And I guess like it's just about feedback. If my ideas of life is causing a negative impact on your life, I guess you have the right to give me feedback and say, Nayna, your ideas give me such negative life experiences. I'm wondering if that can change somehow. So then I can look at myself and say, wow, my ideas are giving you a negative experience. Why? And then we have this conversation, and maybe through experience that becomes less arduous and less angering and less embarrassing, because we're so used to just being open about how it is that we affect each other. Like, do I have to say to you, you're so your ideas make my life hell, you're so, or can we do this in a more positive way than a negative way? And so then feedback and constructive criticism becomes a part of conversation, so then we can see what we're going to do about this and what's going on here, because I need you to stop, or I need this to change, or I need this to get out of my life, so let's have a conversation. And this whole thing about like my own narrative, and should I make that the one that's most important? So I think I'm pretty, so if you think I'm ugly, doesn't matter, I'm not going to take your truth. Making my narrative the most important for me, with that in mind, am I responsible for other people? Am I responsible to hear them out, or to give them credit, or am I responsible in how I make them feel? And if it's this thing of positivity, where, you know, you're mature and you're not trying to attack me, you're just trying to have a conversation. Like my son, he would never try to attack me, he would only ever try to have a conversation with me. So then this is a love exchange, and this is a peaceful exchange. So then I can be responsible, and I can consider your feelings and consider your ideas, because we have a peaceful relationship. But if you're aggressive, or if you're abusive, or if you want to like stump on me and put me down, then no, I don't have a responsibility to hear you out, and I don't have a responsibility to hear you out. Which just reminds me of the bacteria, because like the bacteria doesn't want to hear, not the bacteria, the cell doesn't want to hear the bacteria's side whatsoever. If you are alien to the cell, you're getting killed, and that's that. The cell doesn't want to have any conversation, and the bacteria has to have these like really clever ways of getting into the cell, and then which is called rape. the bacteria rapes the cell, and that's the only way that it forces itself into the cell, because otherwise the cell would predict its approach and would kill it off completely without any conversation. And if we love, we don't do that. So I think that that's not even true, because I feel like the maturity of the world, because we're not really speaking about these things, that we do attack people that we love, and we cut them off before they even get a chance to explain themselves, because of the level of immaturity, because I don't think the cell is aware of anything but itself, and I don't think that that is conducive to a world that works perfectly, because technically the body is working perfectly, and so then the cell killing off things without conversation is working for the best purpose of the self. So then it just depends like what we see the self. And me, I can't see the self as just me. I see the self as like every single thing in the world. It's like the self. And like everything is like me, a part of me. So then if the mirror wants to say something to me, I'm not going to cut it off, because I would see the mirror as me. What I've been able to do without realizing that I was doing it is that I'll ask people, like I was saying about if I feel like somebody's eyes are weird, and I'll be like, your eyes are looking at me weirdly, I would actually say that to them, and I'll say, your eyes are looking at me weirdly, and then maybe I'll make them uncomfortable, and then I'll go back to my room like feeling so uncomfortable that I made them uncomfortable, because like, why did I make them uncomfortable? All I ask them is like, why did their eyes look like that? And now that I've been diagnosed as autistic, I'm understanding all of these characteristics in myself. But I think that there is something to that, where you can just like ask somebody and say, what does it mean? And if they are being mean, then you kind of check them and put them in their place by just asking them about it, and then they're gonna think twice in doing it again. And if they do it again, you just keep asking them, you're doing it again, you're looking at me with those eyes again, and why are you doing that? What does it mean? And how do you feel when your eyes are doing that? And I ask my son that all the time. Like sometimes he'll have something in his eyes, and I'll ask him, and he'll be like, I don't know why, and then I'll be like, yeah, but how do you feel inside? And then we'll just try to decipher it, which I think is kind of hard for him to do for some reason. And for me, it's so easy to do it. If you ask me like, how am I feeling, I scan myself and I'm able to tell you. But my son doesn't seem to have like that ability. But a lot of humans that I know so far, that I know of, they can be like, and maybe it's just the type of humans that I attract or that are around me, where like if I approach them in a calm way, they tend to give me the calmness back. So even if I'm asking them an uncomfortable question like, so you're angry at me, can you explain to me like why you're angry? They tend to respond in the same energy, instead of going, well, I'm angry at you because of this, because I didn't come with you with anger. So then they're able to then give me their answers without all of the aggression, which hate and anger has in abundance. So I do feel like we kind of match and we mirror each other in that sense. If I come with you with aggression, you give me aggression back. If I come in peace, you give me peace back. So then we can have a conversation in peace. And I think that that's how you confront anger and hate. If you want to confront it and not just run away from it, then it is just to approach it with peace. But I will say though that I do think that we're just all just lost in our own stories, and we're just like the number one thing in everybody's story. story, because in my head that person did this wrong to me, and how I'm not even a bad person, why are you doing that? And then that person's that, like, everybody's so unfair because I'm not a bad person. And so then, but then if I was to be that person, I'd have a completely different perspective. And it's nothing to do with if Nayna's a good or bad person or not. It's to do with how I'm feeling now as the other person. And the other person feels like this, and they have these ideas and that ideas, and Nayna is this and this and that. So I do feel like we all have this like central existence, and because of that, it's a bit hard to like say who's wrong and right, because we all think we're right. And if you know that you're wrong and you're being spiteful because of these feelings of anger and hate, and you don't care, you just want to be spiteful, again, I think that's like education of like not knowing what that means and how unhealthy that is, and how to like do better than that, because nobody's talking about these things. Right, let's conclude this video. So let's answer the question, how to deal with hate and anger from other people. Well, this is going to be my perspective, because in the quote of the week, the AI Google has a perspective. I don't want to get into it because I want to read it on that part. So this is going to be just me freestyling to answer the question. So the old me would want to, before all of this anger, before all of this craziness that has happened in my brain in the past few years, the old me would want to understand it. It will think that it's my job to try to heal the world. So then if you have hate, this is an opportunity for me to learn something, and to help you to learn something, and to actually resolve things. So if you think I'm ugly and it bothers you so much, let's talk about it. Is there a way that you can not view me as ugly? Is there a way that I can not be in your life anymore? Like, let's talk about it, get the solution. It's such a bad example to use the ugly one though, because it's so irrational. Like, why is that a problem if you think I'm ugly? Why are you telling me that? And just keep it to yourself. Why are we exchanging such information? Yeah, let's use one that's more not irrational. Like, you talk too loud. You're talking of loudness, what? Your loud talking is irritating, and you're such an irritating person because you talk so loud. Okay, the old me would be like, I'm so sorry, I think I need to learn, because we're here to benefit everybody. So if my loud talking is causing you distress, maybe I need to learn to not be a loudspeaker, and then I'll start to ask loads of people, not just the one who's irritated at me, but everybody, like, do you prefer when somebody's like not loud? And then I'll start to decipher what's going on, and then maybe 5 out of the 10 people would say to me, I don't care when somebody's loud, and then 2 of them will say, oh, I like it when somebody's loud, and then 3 of them will say, I hate loud people. And then those 3 will be the ones that will stick out, and then I'll then go and ask them, so what causes you irritation? And then they'll be like, oh, because it makes my heart race, and then I feel like something is wrong, and then I'll start to like make the maths behind it. So it's not the fact that I'm loud, it's the fact that you're having a reaction that you think is happening rather than what's actually happening. So my loudness reminds you of aggression, and so then you feel like you're being attacked. Whereas if you didn't have that inside of yourself, maybe you wouldn't care that I was loud, and you'd see it as like the other one who thinks it's a fun thing. Oh, you're so loud, that's so fun. And so then, can we heal all of this so then I can be loud and not affect you in a negative way? Or can I also just read the room and see if there's the 3 people that are going to stick out, so then I could be more mindful of them, knowing that I'm going to impact them in a negative way, even though it's not my fault. It's your scars and your baggage, but let me be mindful of your scars and your baggage, because I don't want to make you feel this way and that way. The old person would have come up with that conclusion as to how to deal with hate and anger, which would be to tiptoe around people and try to heal it and try to understand it and make the world a better place, and let's work together here. I'm laughing here because like nobody can do that in this current world. A lot of people can't do that, because what happens is that when somebody says I hate you, you're loud, the reaction is to get angry at them. Like, how dare you attack me? I'm not a bad person, I'm just loud. You're just such a head for having a problem with my loudness. And then it becomes war between the 2 people, because now you've attacked me, and I'm not considering your scars or your perspective. I'm only considering how you're making me feel like I'm a horrible person for being loud. So then we just go to war, and that's what everybody I think majority of people in the world are like. And if they're not the aggressor who sets war on other people, they are the suppressor who feels all of these ways, but they don't really express it. Because there's a little minority of people who actually don't get impacted by nobody's feedback, and they just get on about their lives without even caring what people think of them. Like, oh, you think I'm loud and it irritates you? Great! And then they just move on with their lives. But I think that the majority of people attack them, just like the cells and the bacteria. Now, the me now, how would I deal with it? So the me now has been contaminated with the war, with the war person. Even though I still have that person inside of me that wants to heal the world and wants to like resolve this in a peaceful way, I also have the war person just ready to just chop off people's heads for saying something, because I'm so done with like feeling about myself through other people's perspectives, because I've just seen too much. Like somebody who's got ADHD, their teacher would continuously tell that student, without the knowledge that they have ADHD, they will continuously tell that child, oh, you're so rubbish at being at school, or you're so rubbish at this, you're so rubbish at that. And technically that child has no control over such things. So then you're condemning the child and you're putting negativity on the child when really it's not even the child's fault. And that maths and that equation makes me so angry, because it's like you're so stupid. Oh my gosh, I'm going on a rant here, I'm so sorry. The teacher is not very clever. You see how I'm like trying to like not be angry and deliver you the same information. The teacher has no information, therefore she's given wrong information to the child, making the child feel like rubbish, and she has no correct information, so she's doing something incorrectly. And that has started to anger me in life, because I just want people to just hurry up and learn the correct way and stop doing things that are incorrect, because it's just so unfair to make the child suffer when it's not even the child's fault. It's just you don't have the correct information to deal with that child, and so then now the child is suffering because he's under your care, and really that's really unfair on the child. So stop it, and let's not do stuff like that anymore. And that anger is what's overtaking the old me into the new me that's just angry at everybody for doing the wrong thing all the time. Right, let's move on to the quote of the week. Oh my god. So Google AI says, yeah, this is how to deal with people who hate you, and people who are angry at you, and people who are aggressive and who try to abuse you. This is what the AI says. Avoid conflict with them. Be mindful to not get triggered. So I know what triggers me. I'm going to foresee that happening, so therefore when it happens, I'm not going to let it happen. So I know that when you say to me, Nayna, you're so, it's gonna make me angry. So I'm gonna predict that you're gonna say that to me, and as soon as you say it, I'm gonna be like, no. Because sometimes when something takes you off guard, that's also why it gets you angry, because you're just so taken off guard. But you're not going to take me off guard because I'm expecting it from you, and therefore I avoid getting triggered, because I am mindful of what the possibilities are already. So I'm already expecting it, so you're not going to trigger me. Be the bigger person. So I think that this comes with experience though, and the ability to do so, because if you get taken off guard, you have to have the ability to quickly calm yourself down before you explode and get out of control, or you have the emotional intelligence of predicting what it is that's going to happen, so then you don't get triggered. So be the bigger person, I think, comes with experience. It's not about you, it's about them. Yeah, so if they hate on you, like I said with the 3 people, it's about their scars. So it's not even about you being loud, it's about what it reminds them of and the scars that ignite inside of them. So it's not about you, it's about them. Remember that. Understand criticism and understand the difference. If somebody's trying to criticize you and they're doing it in an aggressive way, be the bigger person and understand, take the criticism. And again, the angry person in me is like, no, sort out your tone. Don't talk to me like that. If you want to give me criticism, talk to me in a nice way. Otherwise, don't talk to me at all. The old Nayna will be like, yeah, no, it's hard for you to talk in a nice way. Let me not get angry at you about that. But understand the criticism. Know that you can't please everyone. So like I said, are you going to concentrate on the 5 people and then the 2 people who don't care that you're loud? Great, concentrate on those. Me, I want to change the world, so I'm going to concentrate on all 10 people, not just the 7. But Google says you can't please everyone, so don't try to. Focus on the positives. And the positives is that you've given me critical information that might help me. So even though it's criticism, I'm going to take it to my advantage. So the guy who commented and he was going on whatever he was saying, I'm going to take the advantage of what he has told me, which is that maybe I shouldn't be going on a rant with anything negative when I'm trying to be positive, and I'm going to take that to my advantage, even though I don't know how to really put that into practice. Focus on the positive. And if I agree with you that being loud is a negative, then I'm going to focus on other parts of my character, not on my loudness. Focus on the positive. And then forgive and forget. I think forgive and forget is easy if it doesn't reoccur again. But if it reoccurs again, it's kind of hard to forgive and forget because you keep doing the same thing. Because I am really easy at forgiving and forgetting to a point though. I'm not going to let you come close to me again because you've like hurt my feelings, but I can let you come close enough that we can have a conversation, but you're not coming close because I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna go this way because I don't trust you anymore. All right, that's what Google has to say, the AI anyway. Let's close this video. So I do think that it's important to like get to know yourself, because like I said, if somebody might take me as a really angry person because I've become like angry, well, not really, I don't know, because I don't really talk to anybody. Have I become angry? But I have become angry myself. But let's say that I did go around like just attacking everybody, right? What am I trying to say here? That if I love myself and I understand myself, and if somebody thinks that, oh, Nayna's so angry and she's so this and that, I'll be like, no, I understand myself, and what I'm angry at is that people don't have the ability to do the right thing, and that angers me so much. And technically I think that that's okay, because that's actually understandable, and there's loads of people who would also agree with that, and they think I have every right to be angry, like if I was angry at people being raped, and it's like, well, you have every right to be angry at people being raped, and somebody else is like, oh, you're so angry at people being raped, you're such a bad person, and I'll be like, well, I'm okay with that because I understand myself, I love myself for that, and I think it's right that I have that. So if you know yourself and you accept yourself for what you are, then it is a bit harder for people to like tell you bad things about yourself, because you've already decided on all of those things. And so then if somebody comes up to you, like, I've accepted that I'm loud, it's a part of my culture, it's a part, I don't know, it's a part of my DNA. I always try to be more quiet on purpose, and then I just forget, and then I'm loud again. So then I had to accept that I am just a loud person. So if somebody says, Nayna, you're so loud, I'd be like, yeah, I know, there's nothing I can do about that. So then you can't hurt my feelings when you call me loud, because I've already accepted that about myself, and I've already deciphered that the only reason why you hate me being loud is because it reminds you of an aggressive person, which I'm not intentionally being, and I know that that's your baggage and not mine. So then I see everything clearly, therefore it doesn't hurt my feelings if you call me loud. Huh? You okay? Yeah, right, my dog has come to say goodbye at the final end of this video. So love yourself, get to know yourself, and then you won't be so triggered when people hate you and they're angry at you. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Hi, my Dudu Bamba. I will see you again soon. Goodbye.